video, I'm going to discuss about post-order traversal, and these are the steps to perform post-order traversal. The very first step is traversing the left subtree. After traversing the left subtree, next we'll move on to traversing the right subtree. After traversing the right subtree, the final step is visiting the root node. So the very first step is visiting the left node. After visiting the left node, it will visit the right node. After visiting the right node, it will visit the root node. This is the flow, this is the order, and this is the example. On this example, with the help of the post order traversal, we are going to visit each and every node in the given tree. Given example. So here in the given tree, the very first node we can see is the root node. But here, according to the steps given here, the very first step which we are supposed to visit, the very first thing we are supposed to look at is the left subtree. It has to move on to the left subtree. When we check A is acting as a root node. So root node can't be visited first. According to the steps given, first it has to complete traversing the left subtree. So left to A is B. When we check B, again B is acting as a root node for the node D and E. So B can't be visited, come to D. When we check D, again D is acting as a root node for the node G and H. So move on to the left again. When we check the node G, G is not acting as a root node for any of the node. It is just acting as a left node for the node D. According to the steps given here, the very first node which we are supposed to visit is the left node. So since G is the leftmost node, it is acting as a left node for the node D. G will be visited first. After visiting the node G, G is the left node. After visiting the left node, it has to move to the right node, and finally only it will come to the root node. So visiting the left node is over. Root node can't be visited. Before visiting the root node, it has to complete the right subtree, visiting the right subtree. So when we check the right subtree of the root node D, H is there, but when we check H, again H is acting as a root node for the node L. So check the left node of H, there is no left node, so it has to move on to the right node. When we check the right node L, it is not acting as a root node for any of the node, just it is acting as the right node only for the node H. So the node L will be visited after visiting the node G. No left node, right node is visited. So after visiting left and right, it is supposed to move on to the root. The root node for the node L is H. So after L, H will be visited. After visiting the left node, left subtree as well as the right subtree, the root node should be visited. So the root node is D, so the node D will be visited now. Now the entire left subtree is over. We have visited the entire nodes in the left subtree of the node B. So after visiting the left subtree, we are supposed to move on to the right subtree. When we check the right subtree, there is only one node there, that is E. So the node E will be visited. After visiting the node E, after visiting the left subtree as well as after visiting the right subtree, we are supposed to visit the root node. So the node B will be visited now. When we check now the entire left subtree is over. We have completed traversing the entire left subtree. After traversing the left subtree, we are supposed to traverse the right subtree. When we check the right subtree, the very first node is C. When we check the node C, it is acting as a root node for the node F. So the node C can't be visited. So it will start moving towards its left, but there is no left subtree. Since there is no left subtree, it will go search for the right subtree. When we check the right subtree, there is F available. When we check F, F is not only acting as a right subtree, it is also acting as a root node for the node I and J. So the node F can't be visited. So since the root node can't be visited, it will move towards its left. When we check the left node of the node F, I is there. I is not acting as a root node for any of the node. So the node is acting only as the left node for the node F. So the node I will be visited after B. After visiting the node I is the left node. After visiting the left node, it is supposed to move on to the right node. But when we check the right node J, it is acting as a root node for the node K. So node J can be visited. So it will move towards its left. that is k. K is the only node, it doesn't act as the root node for any of the node, it is just acting as only the left node for the node J. So the node K will be visited, that is left node. After visiting the left node, it will search for the right node, but there is no right node available for the node J. So after completing left node and the right node, it has to come to the root node only. So the node J will be visited after the node K. So left, right and root node is visited. So here when we take the node F, the entire left part is over, the right part is over. After visiting the left node as well as the right node, it has to come to the root node. So the root node is F. When we check the node C, C is acting as a root node, but when we check C, there is no left subtree for the node C. So the left part is over, there is no left subtree, there is no node to traverse on the left side. So it will check the right part. So here the entire right nodes, the nodes in the right subtree is traversed. So after left and right, we need to come to the root node only. So it will visit C now. After visiting the node F, the node C will be visited. Now the entire right subtree is also over. After visiting the right subtree as well as after visiting the left subtree as well as the right subtree, then only the root node will be visited. The root node is A. After C, the root node A will be visited. And this is the order. This is the solution for post-order traversal. And this is the pseudocode. Only when the tree is not empty, we can apply the pre-order traversal over there. We will be able to visit each and every node in the tree when there is a node in the tree. If the tree doesn't have any node, if the tree is empty, we cannot apply any of the procedure. So only when the tree is not equal to null, when the tree is not equal to empty, we can apply these 3 steps. The very first step is traversing the left subtree. Once traversing the left subtree is over, the second step is traversing the right subtree. After completing this, the final step is visiting the root node. After visiting the root node, the algorithm will end. Thank you.